All right. Good evening, everybody. Very nice to see you all. Good evening, everyone. So I would like to know your names and where you're from. So I am Sanya, and I'm one of the senior trainers at Khaira Education. So please tell me your names and where you're from. And I would like to welcome you all to this Reading All Stars class with Khaira Education. So please do let me know where you're from, what are your names, and also you could tell me your professions. For example, are you a nurse? Are you a doctor? Are you a pharmacist? Dentist? I know we have students from all different professions, so please go ahead. I would love to know from all of you where you're from. Good evening, all of you. And yes, the ones joining from different places of the world, good afternoon, good morning. Should I also say good night? Some of our diligent students also join midnight classes, so I'm already aware that there is always a time difference, and I respect that. Okay, so I've started hearing from some of you. Brahmotri, you're from Delhi, yes. From Ghana, Mohammed, you're joining from there. Very nice to see you. Manisha, and we also have Antonio from Spain, and you're a pharmacist. Welcome to the class. Ismail, you're from Venezuela, and you're a doctor. Good evening to you. Nurse from Botswana. I think we've had a lot of students from Botswana, so nice to see you. Fareha from Pakistan. Vikas, yes, you're from Rajasthan. And Vasundhara, Sarabjit, Prince, I see a lot of our students. And we also have somebody from Philippines. Hi to you. And Tinoj, you're from Qatar. Greetings to you. Okay, Sanjay, you're from Ireland. And we have many students from India as well as UK. Wonderful to know that, everybody. And I hope you stay till the end of the class because there are amazing techniques and tricks that have worked for students who have enrolled with us before. So you will find this class extremely beneficial. I see somebody wrote in the beginning that you've been trying to clear reading 3 times. So hopefully this class should make things better for you, especially because it is a class of Part C of reading. Little bit about Khaira Education. So we are Asia's first premium preparation providers. And you can see here details of our contact information as well as our pages on Instagram and Facebook. We post a lot of content, be it blogs or small reels, educational ones, testimonials of students. So you can take a screenshot of this and reach out to us in case you need any help, any assistance, or if you want to enroll with us. And these are some books which have been authored by the director of Khaira Education, and her name is Gurleen Khaira. She's, of course, my mentor. And these are amazing books which have been approved by OET and released by Cambridge. And Gurleen ma'am has authored these books, and many students find these books extremely beneficial. So, and you can find it online. You can purchase them or get in touch with our team in case you would like more information about this. So, these contain many techniques and tricks about all the 4 modules, plus some practice papers that can help you. So, again, you can take a screenshot and later on you can let us know if you would like more information. Now, what all do we do at Care Education? Well, as I mentioned already, we are Asia's first premium provider. And what do we provide? Number one, offline and online classes. So we have offline classes in Mohali, Delhi, and Amritsar, and more centers opening up soon. And we provide offline classes as well as online classes with complete material that we provide from our end for all the 4 modules of reading, listening, speaking, as well as writing. And the material remains the same, the teaching remains the same. So there are many students who join us offline, many students who join us from different parts of the world. The result of clearing the exam is equally the same. Now, how do we provide support for these modules? Number one, with group classes that take place every day. These are pertaining to the 4 modules. Second, we have one-on-one speaking sessions, and this is according to the availability of the students. Some students have night shifts, so they are available in the afternoon time, and some are available at night. So we arrange these sessions according to your availability, and we give proper feedback according to your performance and what all you need to do more so that you can clear the exam. Further, we also have a flexible timetable for working healthcare professionals. So we have morning batches as well as evening batches. All our classes are recorded, and if you need any additional help, we are there for you. And we can also we also provide the service of personalized study plans if somebody is working and he or she finds it difficult to cope with the studies as well as work. So we are again offering these personalized study plans. Lastly, we have round the clock trainers and staff members to help you. And we are working round the clock. So in the morning, in the evening, at night, there will always be somebody available to answer your queries. So in this journey, you're not alone. So if you would like to join Khaira Education, you can reach out to us. And as I mentioned, the contact details were given already. I'll show that to you again at the end of the class. Okay, then. So let's begin our class for today. So as I mentioned earlier, this class is going to be about Reading Part C. So let's revise the format a little bit of Reading Part C. So the skills that are tested in Reading Part C would be identifying attitude and opinion, understanding vocabulary in context, identifying main idea, detailed meaning, or gist. It's mostly the questions that are based on identifying attitude and opinion that are a bit difficult, as well as the lexical and reference questions. So in Part C, there will be two long texts, which will be like journal or review articles that contain multiple perspectives, multiple opinions on a certain topic. For example, suppose if there is a topic of cancer. So these will not be like the studies that scientists do, but these would be a commentary on the studies that scientists do. And we'll have to identify what the writer has to say about those studies. So different kind of perspectives could be there. Now the time for part B and C is 45 minutes. And ideally, we should give 10 minutes to part B, which leaves us with 35 minutes for part C, which means we have like 17 and a half minutes for each extract and 2.5 minutes per question, which is more than enough to answer a part C question. Right. Moving further, so each text of part C has 8 questions, so total 16 questions are there. And in each text, so as I mentioned, there are 8 questions, and out of those 8 questions, 2 of them will be lexical or reference questions. So basically in part C, total 4 lexical or reference questions will be there. And these questions will follow the sequence of the text. So it means the first question will be from first para, second from the second para. Lexical questions can again be overlapping with the para, but always either it will be clearly written in the question or there is some signposting of the paragraphs that tells you that, okay, it's from this topic, but it will follow the sequence. It will never be that the first question is from the last paragraph or anything like that. So that is easier, I suppose. And of course, as many of you might know already, there will be 4 answer options for each question. Now, the reason I revised this is because there might be some freshers who are thinking of attempting OET. So this will be helpful for you. So today what we are going to focus on would be decoding the lexical and reference questions in Reading Part C. So let's start with that. So the first thing to remember about these lexical and reference questions, these type of questions will always be clearly marked in the text. So this is a sample question that you can see. And here you will see that the paragraph the phrase is in is written in bold and underlined. So here the paragraph number is written that it's in the 3rd paragraph. And then you can see the phrase that they're asking you the meaning of, not the meaning, but what idea it contains. That will be underlined plus written in bold. And in the text also, you can see it is underlined and it is written in bold. So that is how all the lexical and reference questions, the 4 of them in Part C, will look like. So it will not be difficult to find them. Right. So in today's lesson, there are 3 things that we are going to learn, and we shall learn how to get these type of questions right by number 1, understanding the context through the surrounding sentences. Second, we will use grammar to eliminate the options. And third, we shall look at our existing knowledge. So we are going to exploit our existing knowledge and vocabulary and use that. Now, I would like to put on a disclaimer that this is not your medical knowledge. This is the knowledge of the English language. So there might be some vocabulary that you might already know. So this technique will be about using what we already know in the best possible way so that you can answer as accurately as possible. All right, so this would be our targets for today, and let's begin. So the first set of questions that we are picking would be reference questions. Now, how can we identify that they are reference questions? Well, these are 4 sample questions in front of you. You don't have to read them in detail, but just something that I want you all to notice. As you can see, in each of these questions, there is this word refers. That in the 4th paragraph, the word they refers to, or in the 5th paragraph, the word it refers, what does it refer to, or the word refers to. Simple as that. Whenever the word refer is there in the question, it means they're asking us, what is the reference point of this? So in the paragraph, there would be something written, and we are being asked that what is this pronoun or this word is referring back or forward to. So that's the first thing that all of you have to remember. Now, there are different types of reference questions, and I will be starting with the ones that contain a pronoun. Okay. Can you all give me some examples of pronouns in the chat? If you want, you can write the definition, but I would also welcome some examples of pronouns. Okay. The and will, those are articles, not pronoun. You, yes, Antonio, that's right. He, yes, Elizabeth, that's correct. They, there, it, this, Jyoti, you're right. Gagandeep said they. Elizabeth says she. Yes, you're on the right track. They, them, we. Very good. There is correct. I think, Anju, you wanted to write this, but you've written thus. That's a connector, but I understand your feelings. We, them, whom. Very good, Fleming. That's right. Exactly as you said. Now, what is the function of pronoun? So, pronouns are used in place of nouns as substitutes. For example, well, all of you have given me plenty of examples already. So, we'll see an example of how it functions in a sentence, and we'll see how that's significant. So suppose if this is the sentence, students are bound to clear OET if they work hard and practice regularly. Now you can see they is written in bold and underlined. So my question to you is, what is they referring to in this sentence? Which noun is it substituting? You can answer now in the chat. Someone has written tree. Menaka, I don't know what you mean by tree, but I have not written that. Okay. Someone said students. Okay. 2, 3 of you have already started saying students. Okay, I think all of you agree with that. Yes, exactly. They mean students. Now, a very important thing that I would want you to focus on, number one, they is the plural form of a pronoun, right? So it will always refer to something plural, and most of the times the pronoun will refer back. As you can see with this example. So this is something for you to remember when you're attempting the questions which ask you, what does they refer to? So make sure that you're looking prior to where that word is written, because your answer is most likely before that. Some answer options will definitely mention some things which are written after the pronoun. So that is the clearest indication that our answer is not going to be from there. It will be from before that word. Let's explore that a little further. So, the different examples that you told me, pronouns like this, it, they, which, these, those, etc., which refer to something or some idea which is mentioned before the pronoun. Okay. This is the first thing that I want all of you to remember. The pronoun, its usage, and that it is referring to something before, and remember whether it is singular or plural. Second thing that we are going to try would be the replacement method. Now, this is very significant. In addition to looking back at the noun which the pronoun is referring to, when you see the answer options and when you're close to choosing an answer option, try to put it in place of the pronoun in the paragraph and see if it is logically fitting in the context when you place it, when you put it in place of the pronoun. Let's take an example. I'm giving all of you some time to read these two sentences. Please take your time. Okay, so it says reading is not an easy module. The students find it quite challenging, which is why they look forward to the classes which teach them the strategies that can help them score well. So my question for you would be, here it refers to, and you have four options, A, B, C, and D. You can write your answers in the chat now. Which one do you think it is? What is it referring to? Okay, many of you have started saying already that it is reading. Right. All of you are right. It is B, which is reading. That would be the right answer. Good that you got it right. But there are some other things that I really want you to notice. If you look at the first option, if we replace it, because remember that is the method that we are trying. So we'll try it here and then we'll do it in the actual questions. If I say the student find easy module quite challenging, that is not logical. How can you find an easy thing quite challenging? So if I put it in its place, so suppose like just like reading, easy module is also written there, but the replacement doesn't make sense. So that is why we will not choose that. Second, classes. The problem with this option, if you remember, it is singular, but classes is plural. There is a grammar mismatch. So that's how we can eliminate the options. And third, score again. If I say the students find score quite challenging, score is not something that we can find challenging. So that means it also does not fit the context logically, right? And yes, another thing is that it is mentioned later. Pronouns always refer to something which is mentioned beforehand. So we have looked at pronouns, we have looked at also the replacement method. Now let's try if it is actually practicable. So here is a question for all of you. It says in the second paragraph, the word they refers to. First thing for all of you to notice is that it is a plural form. That means the answer that you would be looking for would be plural. So remember the tips, look at the noun that the pronoun is referring to, probably prior. So I'm going to show you the paragraph. And on your own, before you see the answer options, I want you to see from the context, what do you think would be an appropriate fit? So take your time, read the whole paragraph, and then you can narrow down your answer. All of you have already started sending some answers in the chat. Good. So do that. Try to figure out from the context first. And this is something you have to remember when you're attempting the actual exam. Before we go to the answer options, we should already have an answer from the paragraph. That is what helps with elimination, which many students tell me is a little tough, that you're confused between two options. This is something which will help. Another thing that I want you all to notice is the contrast word but. So let's see the options now, because many of you have already started saying it's pools team. Some of you said doctors. And try the replacement method also and see if your answer makes sense. Check if it fits grammatically. I can already see many of you are writing pools team. Yes. So if you try the replacement method, see how it comes out to be. If I say, but observational data said their findings support. Well, as per my knowledge, data can't speak. So we can't say observational data said their findings support other reviews. Doesn't fit the context. Same, people drinking coffee said their findings support. Again, people drinking coffee, I think they're having fun, not really doing any studies, so it can't be their findings. Recent reviews said reviews are not living beings, so they can't say anything. Pool's team. Because also in the context it is written, Pool's team noticed that because their review included mainly observational data, no firm conclusions could be drawn, but they said their findings support. So probably the people who are talking about the findings would be the people who did the research. So yes, as all of you said, D would be the right answer. Good job, everybody. Let's try one more. I think you're getting the hang of it. So can you tell me this is singular or plural first in the chat? All right, singular. That's right. So that means what we will refer back to will also be singular. Remember that it will help you with elimination. So again, we will remember the tips. We have to look back at the noun that it's referring to. Okay, all of you, please read the paragraph. This is another thing that students ask me. Should we only read the line where the pronoun is there? No, I would advise you to read the paragraph first so that we understand the whole context. Then elimination becomes easier. So please try to find what this is referring to from the paragraph. Then we'll look ahead. This is something which is again going to help you, which is the contrast word. But that means that whatever was written before, some idea opposite to that is coming. And all of you need to remember that. Take all the hints that you can get from grammar. Right, I can see that some of you have already started writing your answers before I even ask you. So that tells me that all of you are catching this on very quickly. Yes, so try to finalize your answers now. You can try putting it in the place of this and see if it is logically making sense, grammatically, if it is fitting or not. Okay, many of you have already said position statement, which is D. Um, yes, so here it was written there was minimal response to this call, and then AAPM issued a position statement calling upon medical schools to increase required curricular content in chronic pain, which is something good because there was no response. Then there was a response, and again comes a contrast. But this too had little influence. Now, if we put it in the context, if we look at A option, a response to John Boniva's call, that's too far off, first of all, and doesn't fit in the context. But the response to John's call had little influence. No, the recent thing which has happened is the issuing of position statement. Required curricular content had little influence. There is a problem with this, even though it is written beforehand. Here, it doesn't say that it was actually applied. They just called for it. They just said it should be there, but we can't say it had little influence because the content wasn't actually applied. Now, option C, I really want you to pay attention to that. Curricula is a plural of curriculum. As we remember, this was singular. So C can't be the answer. Okay? That's what I want you to notice. And as all of you already said, D would be the right answer, which is position statement. So they issued a position statement, but this too had little influence. So yes, good job, everybody. That's the right answer. Okay. Now we just looked at the questions in which only a pronoun was there, like this and they. But there are also some reference questions which mention a pronoun plus a word also. So what should we remember when we are solving those kind of questions? Number one, we will remember the function of pronouns. We have already discussed quite a lot about it, whether they're plural, singular, they'll refer back to something. Second, very important thing that you're going to use would be your existing knowledge and understanding about the words that's mentioned. Again, disclaimer, second, that this is not about your medical knowledge. This is about your vocabulary that you already know, some words that you're familiar with in the English language. So yeah, don't confuse it with your medical knowledge. Okay, let's see how we can do that. So here's a fun activity for everybody. I want you to use your existing knowledge and understanding. So I want you to write in the chat what comes to your mind when you see these words. Number one, saving. So you can write anything associated with it. What comes to mind when you look at this word? Go ahead. I look forward to seeing your answers. Oh, very good. Yashavi, you said reduce expenses, money, protect. Okay, Vasundra. Saving money, money, money. I think all of you are talking about that. Bank account, reduce cost, money, time, no savings. Is that a personal comment that you have no savings, or would you like to do some savings? Save water. Uh-huh. Very good. I think you all are on the right track. So saving is about keeping, storing up, putting aside a share, right? All of you tried to say that. And yes, many of you took the example of money. Funny enough, so did I. So yeah, that's what saving would mean. And see, here you didn't have to use any dictionary or anything. This was all that you already knew. Let's look at another word. If you look at this phrase, new visibility, what comes to mind? Go ahead. Plant, future plans, life. Is that about new visibility? Life? You're very philosophical. Okay. A new perspective, Yashavi. Good. Opportunity. Okay. New idea. New research. Okay, Anju. Opportunity, Preeti says. All right. New things. Golden opportunity, Mansi. Okay. Technology thoughts. Recent review, Salman. Okay. Radhika, life opportunity, new goal, new technology. I think all of you are saying new, but also think about what new could mean. I think one of the students said recently. That's what we can think about. Yes. So visibility would mean something which is new, like discovered recently, perhaps. And visibility would be like, I've taken it quite literally, but something which is more clear now if we compare it to the past. Good job, everybody. DP, you also said learn something new. I think that's a good one. All right, the last word, everybody, exposure. What comes to your mind when you see this? To come in contact with something, getting something helpful, okay. Heat exposure, yeah. George, I think you're on the right track there, yeah. But remember, I want you to think about what do you think it could mean or any connotations that it has. Disclose, Varuni, okay. Come in contact, Manisha. That's a good one. Leaving comfort zone, Roma. Well, that can be positive as well as negative. Okay. Um, come in contact with. I think all of you again are on the right track. So yes, exposure is like some sort of vulnerability or laying open, um, getting deeper, or contact with light, sunlight, water, heat. Exactly. That's what it's about. So, exposure is kind of vulnerability. Now, what this activity just proved is that all of you can think of this, right? So, when you see the questions with pronoun plus any of these words, please do think about what meaning it holds in real life. Okay, so first we talked about pronouns. We have to remember the function. Second, just like you used your existing knowledge and understanding about the word, that's what you have to do. And we looked at some examples, saving, exposure, new visibility. Number three, you're going to check the grammar to see whether the pronoun refers to something singular or plural. Now, as we took the example of exposure, suppose if it says these exposure, that means it's plural. This saving is singular. These new, well, visibility tells us it's singular. But here also, let's try to check that. Now we can also check out other aspects of grammar, like, but however, although to understand the context better, as we've already seen two questions in which that played a role. And as always, you can use the replacement method. Okay, so let's try them. I want you all just to take like 10 seconds, read these 5 strategies once more, and then we'll go to a question. Okay, let's try a question. Here is a question for you. The words this saving in the 6th paragraph refer to. Okay, quickly everybody, singular or plural? Singular. Very good, everybody. So that means the saving that we are looking for would be just one. This saving. All right. So revision of the strategies, you have to look at the noun that the pronoun refers back to. Yeah. And remember to use your current understanding of the word saving. It had like a positive connotation, right? Keeping it stored up, putting something aside. Right. So let's look at the paragraph. Please read the whole paragraph to understand the context properly. Yes, so please try to form your own answer. What do you think this saving is referring to? We'll get to the answer options in a while. Just write your answers in the chat. Very good. Your answers have started to come in. You see how easy elimination will be if we apply these techniques? So, yes, we can see over here it was written increase in patient admission under general medicine over the last 5 years has been accompanied by a reduction in the length of stay. It has been estimated that 120 additional beds would have been required without this saving, which provides a handy measure of the operating efficiency gain. So yes, I think all of you have mostly written reduction in length of stay. So we have to think of what would saving be, right? Some of you are saying beds. They're saying beds would have been required, but they didn't really need it, right? Because there was a reduction in length of stay. All right, here are your answers. Please write in the chat. What do you think is the answer? A, B, C, or D. And remember, you can use the replacement method to see if it is fitting in the context. Okay. All of you are talking about C? Yes. Very good, everybody. So, yes, C would be the right answer. The time patients spend in the hospital, because it's about reduction in the length of stay. See, right now I can see you are barely taking any time to eliminate. So this is something we have to target to do in the exam as well. So we have to match the answer that we deduce from the paragraph quickly. When we understand that and then go to the options, we will be able to eliminate very quickly. Let's try once more. So here's the phrase, this new visibility. So what does it refer to? And here is your um, paragraph. And remember to use your understanding of new visibility that we spoke about earlier, and it's referring to something singular. So from the paragraph, try to understand what is this new visibility. You can write your answers in the chat, and then we'll discuss further. Okay. Uh, I can see some of you writing legitimacy. What do others think? Placebo research. Okay. Sakshi also says legitimacy. Sukhman also says the same. Mahindra says legitimacy of placebo research. So you've kind of put it all together. Very good. Let's see. And I'm highlighting the lines before because remember, that's what the pronoun will refer to. So it is written, it's those advances in hard science, said one of the researchers, that have given placebo research a legitimacy it never enjoyed before. Remember the meaning of new visibility? It's very recent. It never enjoyed it before. What did it not enjoy before? Placebo research getting that legitimacy. Right. So now here are your options. Remember, you can try to put the options also in place of new visibility and see if it makes sense. Placebo treatments are plural. Very good. Yashasvi. Yeah. Go ahead, you can type your answers A, B, C, or D. And yes, Madhu, I'll explain it this time properly. Okay. I can see a lot of B's coming. And some of you have also said C. I would like you to look at the highlighted lines once more. C option says innovation in technology, right? That was written in the very first line, that these technologies that placebo treatments affect areas of brain, and it is those advances that have given placebo research a legitimacy, right? So the thing that didn't happen before, what is new? It's not written that the technology is new, right? The legitimacy is new. And also, if you all notice, here legitimacy, it means that it is kind of legit now, which means that now it is being accepted. Um, so B will be the right answer. I will repeat once more. C can't be the answer if I put it in place of new visibility. So if I say innovations in technology has encouraged. Is it grammatically fitting? Innovations has encouraged. Remember the first thing I said was this is singular. So can't be C. A option also, improvements in design has encouraged. No, that's also grammatically not fitting. And D, the willingness of placebo researchers to admit mistakes, it is not written that they made any kind of mistake. So that's why it is simply not given. So that's why the grammar plays a big, big role in this. And we need to remember that. Okay. Now some of you are asking, what does legitimacy mean? Legitimate means kind of to that it is kind of like the law now, and that's why it is more acceptable because now something has happened that it has become acceptable by norm, by rules. That's why it is getting a legitimacy. It's getting a validation that it never enjoyed before. Yeah. Okay, right. Now, this is a question entirely for all of you. Please read the question, then the paragraph, and then the answer options, just like we have been doing till now. Only then you will get the success that we want. I'm giving all of you about 2.5 minutes. Please start. I can see that you've started sending in your answers. So just once more, I want you to think about some things. Number one, this exposure, right? Second, exposure, if you remember, it means being vulnerable to something, right? Keeping yourself open to something. So we have to think about which lines are talking about it, right? So if we see over here, um, in just the previous line, it was written, in terms of therapy, those with disorder are guided to face their fears, right? Face their fears and not react to them with compulsions. So we have to kind of see, yes, I think one of you even wrote that, face their fear and not react to them with compulsions. Now, this exposure aids patient. It means something which is helping patients in overcoming their fear, guilt, or disgust. Another thing, it will always refer to something which is written before. So let's see, many of you are saying B, which is confronting troubling thoughts and feelings without using rituals. Okay. Some of you said C. If you are choosing C as the answer, you have to kind of also tell me that where is it written that they face their fears alone? When somebody is guided to face their fears, doesn't that mean that somebody's there with them and that they're not alone? Right? So it can't be C. If we look at A, revealing symptoms of the disease to psychologist, I think that's not mentioned in this context. And exposure is not fitting in the context there. D option, patients trying to change the fearful, guilty, disgusting thoughts into positive ones. If you have chosen D, try to see, is it written later or is it written before the pronoun? If you see overcoming fear, guilt, disgust, that is mentioned later. So it cannot be D either. Remember all the strategies we spoke about. So B will be the right answer, as many of you said. Patients confronting troubling thoughts. Now, confrontation, facing fears, troubling thoughts without using rituals, not reacting to them with compulsions. Now, compulsions, for example, somebody has a habit of biting their nails. Those are like rituals and compulsions that when we are scared, we do something. Maybe we have a habit of playing with the hair, or maybe, some people, they scratch their skin. So, not react to them with compulsions. That is why B is the one which is fitting in the context. D is mentioned later. C is wrong because they're guided to face their fear. A, revealing symptoms, there is no such thing of vulnerability mentioned there. For psychologist, here also that thing is missing. Revealing symptoms to psychologist, it's not written. Yes, so B would be the right answer for this question. If you made a mistake, please remember what your mistake was in this one. Okay, so till now we've talked about number one, when you're asked reference questions about pronouns. Number two, when it is pronoun plus a word. Now we are coming to the third type of reference question when they can ask you sequence words or phrases. So everybody, sequence means successive order of something or like two or more things. It's like a chronological sequence. Can you think of some examples of any words or phrases that denote sequence? So how do we usually know that things are in a sequence? Subsequently, okay, Antonio says first of all, definitely. So Antonio, it will not just be first, right? It would be like firstly, secondly, initially, very good. Mahindra, very good job. The latter, yes. Additionally, Roma, yeah, we can say that. Prior, firstly, consequently, series of event, Minakshi, good. Following, that's a very good one, Mustafa. Initially, beginning, Sukhman, correct. Initially, firstly, secondly. Yes, exactly right. Currently, yeah, that's talking about the first one. Monica says firstly, secondly, first and foremost. Very good. Before, after, later, Sakshi, good job. So, yes, let's look at one example. And actually, one of you said this. So, let's understand these sequence words or phrases. So, here are some sentences for you. New policies have been formed for the pediatric and oncology staff. For the former, the days for OPD have changed from weekdays to only weekends, and for the latter, OPD will be operational only on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So, my question to all of you, what does the former refer to? See, I'm not asking you the meaning of former. I'm asking what is it referring to? Pediatric staff? Mm-hmm. Some of you are saying oncology staff. Yeah, so former means whatever is mentioned first. So that would be pediatric staff. Okay. Now, the latter, well, you can take him from the word latter, later. Yeah. So that would be the thing which is mentioned second, which would be the oncology staff. Right? So please remember this. You can make a note of it. If you want to note it down, you can take a screenshot right here so that you remember the meaning of these words. Former means the first and foremost. Latter means the one that comes later, the second one. That would be oncology. Okay. Now, just like former and latter, there are also these two sets of words, which is successor and predecessor. Okay. Predecessor, so from the word pre, you can understand it is the one that comes before. Successor is the one that comes after, with the one which succeeds. So this is another set that I would like you to remember because there have been many questions which have mentioned these. So unless we know the meaning, we will not be able to answer those questions. Okay. So Again, you can take a screenshot if you like of this. And then now we will see which questions can come like this. Right. So here is the question. What does the latter refer to in this paragraph? So first, I want you to give me your own answers from the paragraph before looking at the answer options. Okay, many of you have started answering, I can see. Well, I understand the name of the drug is quite long, so you've written Fexi. That's okay. Fexinindazole. Mm-hmm. Now you see, like, you don't even need the options to figure that out. But anyways, I'll show you the options, and the one that all of you are talking about is option A. As I mentioned already, latter is the second one, which is fexinindazole. If they were asking us the former, that would be efernithine. So the answer is going to be A. So I can see some of you did say efernithine, but it will not be correct because that's the former. Latter means the one that came second. Um, yes, good job, everybody. And also clinical drugs, it's just mentioned once. So for us to see the former and latter, there needs to be two things that are mentioned. Same for second stage of sleeping sickness. I think that's mentioned later. So that can't be the answer. Or maybe it's not mentioned at all. Yeah, they just talked about the pills of sleeping, but nothing else. So yes, A would be correct. Please remember the meaning of latter and former. Okay, one more question we are going to try. Um, Now this question has two things. Number one, it says the expression third phase in the second paragraph, and it refers to possible changes in something probably. So when we hear this word or when we see this phrase, third phase, what comes to your mind? So in the paragraph, what exactly would you be looking for example? Makuyana, you say what comes first? You're on the right track. There are other two phases. Very good. Yashasvi. Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think you're right. So the expression third phase in the paragraph means something. It means there will also be two other things. So if in the paragraph you can find the other two things, just like we did for former and latter, then you would probably be able to identify what the third phase is. Okay. And also remember, it is talking about possible changes in something. With that in mind, I want you to read the paragraph. Okay, remember, find the first and second phase also of something. So please read the whole para, understand the context, then you can roughly write your answers in the chat. What do you think third phase is referring to? Okay, many of you started telling me your answers. Uh, Hassan, I think you've said chemical is first. Remember, we also talked about predecessor and successor. Successor is the one that comes later. So, if we look at these lines, it was written, so this investment firm was there. It predicts digital drugs will become the third phase of medicine. It means it will be the successor to chemical and protein drugs. So, the first one would be chemical, second one would be protein, and the third one will be, as most of you have written, digital drugs. See, this is what we have to remember. If the question is asking us something in a sequence, if we figure out the first two, the third one we'll be able to figure out as well. All right. Now, try to match what you found from the paragraph to one of the options. Okay. Some of you say D, some of you are saying B. Uh, Cost of developing, that is not the third phase because we don't have anything related to cost, which is written as the first and the second. Same for C, methods of administering. Different ways of administering means are you administering it orally, intravenously, intramuscularly, right? But they didn't say that those are the first and second things. So that's why C can't be the answer. D is correct, as most of you are saying. Types of medications that will be available for treatment. If you see in the paragraph, once again, everybody, it is written digital drugs will become third phase of medicine. So it is the type of medication because they are the successor to which two things? First phase would have been chemical drugs, second would be protein drugs. That is why the third is digital drugs. That is a type of medication. Okay, clearly it is written digital drugs will become the third phase of medicine, right? Not the funding, not the cost, not the methods of administering. So most of you wrote digital drugs. So you have to match that to one of the options because it will not be direct. So D will be the right answer. Types of medication that will be available. Okay, good. Now we are done with the first set of questions, which are reference questions. So let's come to the second part of the lecture, where we will talk about the lexical questions. Okay, these are a little bit different than the reference questions, and we will see how. Okay, so this is what lexical questions look like. As you can see over here, in these questions, the word refer is not there. That's how you know these are lexical questions. So the first question is saying the phrase largely reassuring in the fourth paragraph expresses the idea that, or the phrase a thorn in medicine sides highlights the way that placebo effect something. What is meant by freeing up beds in this para? So you see, it's not asking us what the phrase is referring to, is asking us something related to these phrases or words. That's the biggest difference. It's not asking us the reference point. So there are mostly two types of lexical questions. One that will ask you something related to the words or phrases. These words can include words like overkill, compromised, or phrases like ironic twist, largely reassuring, wonderful outcomes. They can be as many phrases as you can think of. Now, idioms. That is the second type. So idioms have a figurative meaning rather than a literal meaning, like the idiom piece of cake or on cloud nine. So, you know, many times when you get a good score in reading, so many of you say, oh, today I'm on cloud nine. Doesn't mean you've actually gone up in the sky. and you've counted the clouds and see, I'm on the ninth one. Of course, it doesn't. It doesn't have a literal meaning. It has a figurative meaning. It means it's trying to tell you something else, that you are like quite happy with the result. Same for piece of cake. If I say taking this lecture is a piece of cake, doesn't mean that the people I'm teaching are pastries, right? So these are all expressions that mean different to how they appear. So either lexical questions can ask you something related to words or phrases or idioms. But there are some misunderstandings that students have related to these. So let's discuss that. There are some myths related to lexical question. Number one, students feel that they need to know the exact meaning of the word, phrase, or idiom to get the answer right. You don't. You don't need to know the meaning of the words or phrases or idiom to get the answer right. It's the context that matters. Second mistake, or a mistaken belief that students have, is that you need to understand the word first in isolation and then you should understand it in context. No, it's the context only that matters. And third, sometimes students read the answer options first because they feel then they will be able to understand the meaning better. That's again a myth. So that's not correct either. Okay, so you don't need to know the meaning. So let's crush these myths and throw them away. So how exactly can we solve these kind of lexical questions? Let's have a look. Now, the first thing to remember would be that you should carefully read the question and notice the hints that it gives you. So just like the last question that we did, if you remember the reference question, it was written third phase and it was about possible changes in something. So the question was giving us one more hint. Now, lexical questions definitely, apart from the word, they will give you some other hints also. Let's take an example. This is the question. The benefits of statins are being described as having been compromised because. Now, of course, the word compromised is there, but can you write in the chat what other hints is the question giving you? Benefits, very good, Yashasvi. And you've also written that it's something of a positive aspect. That definitely is good. Jyoti, negative connotation. Can you also write, Jyoti, negative connotation? Which word means that? Benefits. Described. Okay. One more thing that you're not noticing. So benefits of statin. Yes, that's number one. There's one more. So, when you get these kind of questions, you should not just focus on the word compromise and then jump to the paragraph. The other two hints that it is giving you is benefits of statin and because. Because is a very important word. Okay. So, benefits, as some of you already said, this tells us that we should particularly focus on the section of the paragraph that talks about the benefits of statins, right? Very important to remember. So in the whole para, we will particularly focus on the section which is talking about benefits of statins. Second is because it tells us that we need to focus on a reason or reasons why benefits of statins have been compromised. Okay? So the question is not asking you the meaning of compromised, right? It is asking us the reason why the benefits of statins have been compromised. So it looks like it's asking us the meaning, but it's asking us something else. It is saying, why have the benefits been compromised? So when we change our perception of the question, the way we answer the question also changes. Okay? So let's remember these two words. Another thing, you don't have to know the exact meaning, but you can still think about what connotation the word holds within the sentence. So, what do you think compromise could mean in the context? Again, you don't have to know the exact meaning, but what comes to mind when you think of the word compromised? You can again write it in the chat. Adjusted, okay. Affected, decreased. Also look at the context, everybody. How is compromised used? Benefits of statins have been compromised because change to lesser benefits. Good, yes. So what we can see is that it has a negative connotation. Maybe there is some sort of harm or damage, or it has weakened. I think some of you said change to lesser benefits. That's correct. So keeping all these things in mind, everybody, let's look at a question. Okay. So the first thing you need to remember is we have to find in the paragraph the benefits. Second, the question is asking us the reason for the compromise. Why have the benefits been compromised? Please remember that, okay? And use your understanding of the word compromise that we just discussed, that it has a sort of a negative connotation. Okay, with that, please read the paragraph and maybe you can write the line which is giving us a reason. Why have these benefits been compromised? Please go ahead. Okay, so you have many of you are saying safety. Some of you said misrepresentation. So this part is very important. So let's understand this, everybody. Serious side effects are rare, and study authors agree on what? That benefits of statins have been compromised by. Now that tells us the reason is coming after it. How have they been compromised? They've been compromised by serious misrepresentations of the evidence for its safety. So it's not about safety. It's about serious misrepresentations. Okay? So understand the question. Remember, it was asking us a reason. So they have been compromised. Why? Because of what? By serious misrepresentations of evidence. So let's try to match that to one of the options. Please tell me your answers in the chat. You can take your time in understanding them properly. Okay, so I see the competition is between C and D, but D is winning. um, okay, but majority of you are saying D. Let's look at it one by one. A option said their benefits are too few. No, because if you see the line just above compromised, it was written substantial proven benefits. Substantial means there have been quite a lot of benefits. So A can't be correct. B option says more research needs to be done. They did not mention that's the reason for compromise. There's a lot of debate about their use. Debate means that some people think it's good, some people disagree with that. But the disagreement is not why the benefits have been compromised. Misrepresentations, it means that they have tried to depict the wrong picture. So representation and misrepresentation. Misrepresentation means wrong representation, which means it's not the truth anymore, it's a lie. That's why I think many of you said D, and D will be the right answer. Too many lies have been told about their effects. Serious misrepresentation of evidence for its safety. The ones who are saying B, as I mentioned, they are not saying that benefits have been compromised because more research is needed. So you have to understand the question a bit more clearly. Okay. So please remember, everybody, we were not looking at the word or the meaning of compromise. We just used our understanding of what that word could be, and we focused on the question that we had to figure out a reason. Okay, we're gonna try once more. So remember, we are reading the question and we are noticing not just the word, but the hints that it will give. So this is the question. The writer uses the phrase, alarm bell started ringing to indicate, right? Now, my first question to all of you, what does indicate usually mean? This word, indicate. Point towards, very good. Directions, okay. Tells, shows. Very good. So, yes, to show or to point out. Exactly, that's what indicate means. Now, second thing, the question is not asking you the meaning of the phrase alarm bell started ringing. It's asking you what is this phrase pointing out in the paragraph. Okay. Now, think about what comes to your mind when you see this phrase alarm bell start thinking. So, sorry, ringing. So, don't think about the meaning. Just tell me anything that comes to your mind when you look at this phrase, alarm bell started ringing. What is the sense of this phrase? When will we use it? Okay. One of you said something dangerous. Warning signs, dangers, aware. Emergency evacuation, John. Yeah, I would agree with you because that is when we hear the alarms, right? The sirens and all. Warning, it could also be something important. Countdown starts. Okay. Um, Caution, warning. Yes. High alert. Yeah. So let's remember that. So basically, what all of you are telling me is that it's something to do with emergency, that it's like a warning, something negative is happening, right? Okay, so two things we are going to keep in mind. Number one, what indicate means. It means to show or point out. Second, remember what all of you said about alarm bell start ringing. Okay, so here's the question for us. Writer uses the phrase alarm bells started ringing to indicate. All of you, please remember this is a practice, but you have to do it in the exam also. Okay, so when you read the paragraph just now, focus on what is the writer warning us about. What is the negative thing which is mentioned? Please focus there. Okay, so think of what meaning it could hold. So yeah, and what is the writer indicating through the use of that? Read the paragraph and maybe you can write the line, like what are these alarm bells ringing about? What are they indicating? So, some of you are writing over medication overdosed. Yes. Some of you are writing the word suspicious. But I want you to see suspicious about what, right? Alarm bell started ringing is indicating what? So focus on that. What are their suspicions about? Hmm. Over medicated and that's and the risk of adverse effects. Very good. I think you're all getting it. Let's see. So, as many of you say that, okay, elimination is a bit tough, let's see how quickly you can eliminate based on these lines. So, suspicions have been raised about pharmaceutical industry and of prescribing and of the prescribing healthcare professionals. Alarm bells started ringing that people were being over medicated and put at risk of adverse effects. That's a very big deal. Okay, alarm bells started ringing about this. So, what do you think should be the answer, everyone? Take your time to understand the options and then you can write it in the chat. Many of you are saying A. Mhm. One of you said B. Number of people taking statins has grown too quickly. Is that the reason that alarm bells started ringing? There is no such thing mentioned here, especially in the lines that I've underlined, that the number of people is too much. So it can't be B. Yes, A will be the right answer. Very good, everybody. So let's discuss. A option said some health professionals have been over prescribing. Yes. So previously also suspicions were raised about what? Prescribing healthcare professionals, the ones who are doing this. And second hint was alarm bells started ringing that people were being over medicated and put at risk of adverse effects. So A option would be correct. Now, C option, too many risks. Well, it's not just about too many risks with statins. It's the over-prescribing which is leading to adverse effects. So that part is missing. That's why A will be the right answer. C will not because it's not talking about over-prescription, over-medication. That's what led to the adverse effect. And research has caused too much, definitely not there in the context. Yeah, also the reason why C can't be correct is if you look at the line just afterwards, statins are generally safe and well tolerated, but it's because of over medication that there are adverse effects. That's why A. Okay, now let's look at one more example. Greg Cope uses the expression wonderful outcomes to underline. Okay, um, here the word underline is written. So it's not the literal underlining, but it means something else. Can you quickly write in the chat what does this word underline would mean? Positive word. Um, mhm. Definitely wonderful outcomes has a positive connotation. I'm asking you the meaning of underline. Yashasvi, you said would emphasize on. Dr. Kusoka, you say stress the point. I agree with that. Majula said show, highlight. Chioma. Sharon, you said importance of. Yes, exactly. So again, everybody, you have to remember. So you have to understand why this expression has been used to highlight what. So don't just focus on the expression, also focus on the context. What is it showing us? Okay. Please read the paragraph with that in mind. All right. If you've read the paragraph, here are some options. If you're choosing an option, there has to be evidence. If you're eliminating one option, make sure that it is not present in the paragraph or something opposite is written. Only then we can choose an answer. So take your time and then write your answers in the chat, and then we'll discuss. Okay, I can see many of you. So even before you wrote the option, some of you wrote like homeopathic benefits. And I think, Hassan, what you wrote was very good, which is benefit even of skeptics, that even if people are not sure about it. Mhm. Okay. Um, right. So let's have a look. It was saying that Greg Cope uses the expression to underline something. So here it was written, if you look at the underlined parts, that Greg Cope dismisses the argument, pointing out that homeopathy appears to benefit even the skeptics. Now, skeptics are the people who are doubtful about something. Yeah. So even if somebody is doubtful about something, still it appears to benefit them also. And then they've given an example. We might see kids first, then perhaps mom, and after a couple of years, dad will follow. Even though he's only there reluctantly, like his heart is not in the treatment, we get wonderful outcomes, right? So, wonderful outcomes is used to underline that even if somebody is not sure, even if somebody is skeptic of the treatment or they're reluctant, still they get wonderful outcomes. So, it doesn't depend on their belief system. That's why B can't be correct. A option said ability of homeopathy to defy scientific critics. The wonderful outcomes is not in relation to the scientific critics. It is in relation to the patients who are getting treated. That's why A cannot be correct. B option, the value of patients' belief in the process. Well, it is opposite to what is written in the text. In the text, it's written that it benefits even the skeptics. And the dad was there only reluctantly. Still, they got good outcomes. So that means belief doesn't matter. C option, the claim that he has solid proof that homeopathy works. The outcomes are not the results of homeopathy, but it's about the results that the patients get through homeopathy. So, yes, as all of you said, D will be the right answer. The way positive results can be achieved despite people's doubts. So, that's why this will be the right answer. If you have chosen B, maybe you need to strengthen your understanding by reading a lot more in your daily life. Okay, this one question is entirely for all of you. Whatever strategies we've discussed till now, hints in the question, what you understand by the word, please use these two techniques and then answer the question. I can see some answers coming in, and mostly either you are saying B or D. There is one thing that I'll say, and then it will help you with eliminating. Okay. If you look at the question, it says drinking 8 glasses of water a day. Is described as overkill because they are asking us why it is described as overkill. So we had to look at a reason. So if you look at the para, it said 8 glasses a day has been the widely circulated advice. But that's a contrast word. Recently, recently means it has happened quite recently. New, if you remember, now something has happened. Two studies suggested that that's probably overkill. What is overkill? Drinking 8 glasses a day of water. And then further it says it turns out that under normal circumstances, you get most of the liquid you need each day from what you routinely eat and drink, like coffee, tea, etc. So that's why you don't need too much water. Now, they have not made any comparison. Is water better or is coffee, tea, etc. better? So how can we choose D? There are better ways to stay hydrated. So is drinking tea and coffee better than drinking water? They did not say that, right? So that's why D can't be correct. A option, staying hydrated is not as important as we used to believe. They did not say that now we don't need to stay hydrated. C option, benefits have been known for many years. Yes, but that is the contrast. But recently, studies have said that drinking 8 glasses a day is overkill. Now, the word overkill also, like if we use our own understanding, over means something excess. Something is in excess. And remember, excess of everything is bad. So, B will be the answer. It is now considered unnecessary to drink so much. Why considered now? Because recently two studies have suggested that that's probably overkill. So B will be the right answer. We don't need to drink so much. That's why they said it's overkill. We are overdoing it. Unnecessary. Okay. So B will be the right answer for this. I think many of you changed that. Very good. Okay, everybody. So that brings us to the end, but very important for us to revise it and for you to probably take a screenshot of this because this is a page that covers all the strategies. If you remember in the first half of the lecture, we talked about reference questions. Number one, we have to remember the function of pronouns that they refer back to something. Second, try the replacement method when the reference being asked is of pronoun. So we can put the option in place of the pronoun and see if it is fitting in the context. Third, we can check the grammar. Remember this and these, singular, plural, contrast words also, and using your current knowledge and understanding of reference words and see how it functions in the context. If you remember, we took some examples of saving, exposure, etc. Even these words like compromise, alarm bell started ringing, overkill. So we can also always understand what could it possibly mean. So if we understand the tone, that really helps us figure out the answer. So that's the first part. The second part, we discuss the lexical questions that don't ask us reference, but they will say, why did the writer use this word? So first of all, we have to focus on the hints that the question has apart from the idiom, phrase, or the word that has been underlined. And remember, the question doesn't ask you the meaning of these phrases, words that are underlined. It asks you why that word or idiom or phrase has been used. Number three, try to see what connotation the word or phrase has. You know how you were saying, okay, it compromises a little negative, and even overkill, if you remember, that's a little negative. That helps you. Last one, explore the context and identify the information that the question is asking. If the question ends with a because or as, then that means they're asking you a reason that you have to identify. Okay, so that's going to do it. That brings us to the end. Now, what are the next steps for you? So, number one, in order to get better at attempting these kind of questions, apart from practicing your OET papers, you can also try to read medical journal articles a little bit more. When you come across any word or phrase or idiom, and if you don't know the meaning, try to figure out the meaning from the context. Think of what the meaning could be, what is the connotation, and then you can check the web. You can Google it or check the dictionary to see if you were close. That'll help you build the confidence. That's for lexical questions. Now, for reference questions, what you can do is whenever you're reading anything, it can be the articles, it can be anything that you're reading on social media, etc. And whenever you see words like it, these, those, them, these pronouns, try to look back and see that what is it referring back to. And maybe you can try the replacement method there and see if it works. Most of the time it will. So practice makes perfect. So the more you practice, the better you will get at it. Okay, so you are ready to fly and achieve good marks. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining and for your brilliant participation today. Once again, I'm Sanya from Khaira Education, and here you can see the details of how you can maybe follow us on Instagram, Facebook. These are our numbers, or WhatsApp, and the phone number is given over here. You can contact us anytime, and I look forward to seeing some of you in the classes. So it has been an absolute pleasure. I hope that you got to learn some new things from this class. Thank you once again, and have a good night, afternoon, evening ahead, whatever time it is in your country. And all the very best for your OET attempt. I hope that all of you can clear the exam and, of course, live your dream. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.